Have you ever experienced that moment when life suddenly shifts and everything you thought you understood becomes clear, sometimes in the simplest of ways? I never thought one small act could change everything, but that's exactly what happened to me many years ago, and it's a story I've carried with me ever since. It was the summer I turned 18. I had just finished high school and was eager to start college in the fall. Honestly, I thought I knew everything about the world, about myself. My father, on the other hand, was quietly guiding me, as he always did, with patience and a quiet strength I often took for granted. Our small family home was filled with little routines that felt like comfort. The smell of his breakfast each morning, the sound of him whistling as he worked in the yard, and long conversations about everything and nothing. But this summer, something changed. I'd been accepted to college hours away, and I was so busy planning my new life that I almost forgot to appreciate the days we still had together. One particular morning, I woke feeling restless, eager to jump into my plans. I found my father sitting on the porch, a cup of coffee in hand, watching the sky lighten with the rising sun. I remember glancing at him, already racing ahead in my mind, eager to tell him about my new apartment, my classes, my future. He looked up at me with his gentle eyes and said, "Remember, son, life isn't just about chasing what's next. Sometimes it's about appreciating what's right here." I nodded dismissively, thinking he was just being cautious. After all, I had plans to make, futures to build. I didn't have time for old advice. But still, I sat down beside him out of habit. We talked for a while about little things, about the upcoming days, and then he shared a story from his own youth, about a time he had made a mistake at work, about how he'd been too proud to ask for help, and how, in the end, that cost him dearly. He told me softly, "It's okay to ask for help. No one expects you to carry everything alone." That day, I left for college with 100 things on my mind, but his words kept echoing in my ears. I was determined to succeed, to prove myself. Yet, as the weeks went by, I found myself overwhelmed. I struggled to balance everything. The new responsibilities, the loneliness, the pressure to succeed. I felt like I was faltering. Then, one evening, I remembered what my father had said about asking for help. I hesitated, then reached out to a classmate, someone I barely knew. To my surprise, she listened, really listened, and offered support. It was a small act, but suddenly everything felt a little easier. I realized I didn't have to do everything on my own. Sometimes accepting help was the bravest thing you could do. That realization was a turning point. It made me reflect on the many moments I'd dismissed my father's quiet wisdom. I saw how his experiences, his patience, and his steady voice had been guiding me all along, sometimes subtly, sometimes outright. And I wondered how many of us miss these lessons in our rush to succeed or escape. Looking back, I understand now that my father's way of living was rooted in kindness and understanding. His advice wasn't just about handling life's challenges, it was about embracing vulnerability, humility, and connection. He wasn't just teaching me to prepare for the future, he was teaching me how to live with grace in the present. So, if I had to pick one lesson from all of that, it's this. Sometimes the most significant wisdom comes softly, and from the people who've lived longer than us. Their quiet reassurance isn't just about easing our fears, it's about reminding us we're not alone, that we don't have to carry everything on our shoulders. And here's the truth I carry now. That day, that simple conversation changed me. It made me realize that real strength isn't about never falling, never asking, never admitting you're unsure. It's about knowing when to stand firm and when to lean on others. What would you have done? Have you ever had a moment where a parent's quiet words turned out to be exactly what you needed? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Sometimes life teaches us the most profound lessons in the simplest ways, and often those lessons come from the people we least expect but need the most. So take a moment today to pause, listen, and remember. It's okay to ask for help, to stay humble, and to cherish the wisdom of those who've walked before us. Thanks for sharing this moment with me. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes a small story can remind us of the big truths we carry in our hearts.